Welcome to day 2 of Catalyzing Change Week 2025. The future of our planet depends on choices we make today. That's why today we are focusing on planet well-being and water justice, intergenerational innovation, and the future of our cities and livelihoods. In 2024, the damage bill from climate-related events was $1.4 trillion. The projected economic losses due to climate change by 2025 will be over 12.5 trillion. And over 2 billion people will face life-changing risks from climate change. Innovators are finding new ways to protect ecosystems, respond to urgent crises, and secure safe, sustainable access to the world's most vital resource. Today, you will meet climate innovators, water justice advocates, city planners, livelihood creators, and young leaders, working side by side with experienced voices. This is a space to share solutions, learn from best practices, and imagine how communities can thrive in the face of change. Welcome to the session presented by Catalyst Now.
Okay, thanks for this. I'm hoping others, so we have people now sharing. So I hope Sam and Reena, it gives you an idea, I think mostly from Asia, right? But I do see people dialing in from, other locations. Some house rules just to make it easy for everyone. We'll have a short presentation or sharing by each of these panelists. And then I will move into a guided panel discussions where I'll be asking them to share a bit about a little more details about their work, their experience, and what they feel about this topic. Yes, and then we will move into Q&A session. What you could do is feel free to type your questions in, and essentially I will try to come to that in the guide after the guided panel discussion. Yes, and also in case we run out of time and you still have questions, do not worry. I'll call out to the speakers to share their contact details. I'll share mine, and we'll be happy to take this conversation even further. Yeah. So hopefully, looking forward to like a great discussion, and we uncover different possibilities. Looking forward to that. So, Reena, starting with you, I'd really love for you to share a bit about your work at Ashoka. Yeah, you especially work on family, change making. That's been your focus area, but you've had a very interesting and illustrious career. So I think I'd love to hear a bit more about you and your work before we jump to Sam and then to the panel discussion. So over to you, Reena, and Veronica, please help share the slides for Reena. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aparna. Hi, everyone. My name is Rina Kusuma. I'm a Family Changemaking Manager at Ashoka. This is my third year joining Ashoka as a Family Changemaking Manager. So Ashoka is a global organization. We supporting social innovators around the world, and in Indonesia, globally, we have our vision is how to make everyone a change makers. And then in Indonesia, we crafted the ways how to reach everyone to become a change makers. One is through a family ecosystem, because it's very important how children can grow up as a change maker, how they can make learning how to make a change, be brave, and then realize their potentiality to become a change makers. And then the second ecosystem that we work on is through education. So we work with schools, teachers, with Islamic boarding schools, Catholic schools, and many other education institutions, where we can involve not only teachers but also parents in the school settings to as a solid ecosystem for children learning about and practicing of change making in a daily life in schools and also at home. And then the third pathways is through interfaith organizations, because like mostly of a population in Indonesia are more are devoted through religious, right? So we work with this ecosystem, and then how we can instill a change making perspective. So Ashoka identified change makers through 4 essential skills. One is empathy, is because there's the fuel, how we can, connect with others and then make a change. And then the second part is the ability to collaborate with others. And then the third is the ability to lead, not only by leading themselves, but also with the themes. And then the last one is how everyone can make like a continuously finding solutions in their work, in their lives. So for this opening, I think should I jump in directly what we work on? There's because I want to share 2 inspirations that I got from Lampung.
Please go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay.
Please go
So
ahead. Please.
yes.
Yes.
So yesterday I just come back from Lampung. Lampung is a province in Sumatra Island, and I met with many change makers in Lampung areas. And then one of interesting change maker there is Linda. Linda is a fashion designer. She have a brand, Jan Ayu. So she works as an artisan, works with artisans with tapis. Tapis is a traditional tapestry and embroidery in Lampung. And then also, she also works using fashion word to influence others to understand about sustainable fashion instead of fast fashion, and also to relate with the traditions, local traditions, and also bring a good cause for the environment and also inclusivity. For example, in the middle, there's like clothes wearing a batik, where she collaborate with deaf community as a batik makers. And then she also collaborates with children with autistic spectrum, so they can bring the message of inclusivity. And they held annually a festival where they promote about sustainability through West Bank or something like that. So currently we are working with people with change makers like Linda, to make like a change makers hub in Lampung. And the second part that I want to share is about from Pontianak in West Kalimantan. On the next slide. This is a chopping. This is a hat, chopping. This is, I think, more, maybe you familiarized with this. This is like a farmer's hat. Um, in Indonesia. So in Pontianak, there's a place, a village in the border of the biggest river in Kalimantan, Kapuas River, where they initiating village-based tourism site, and also they reinventing the chopping, this one, the chopping hat, and then make it like sustainable products. So this is produced usually by elderly, but they also invite young artisans using this, the smallest one, using by coffee beans and the leftover of coffee, because there's like a lot of cafe in the area. So I think that's the sparks of stories from and then we can go through after this.
Yes, great. Thank you so much, Reena, and really looking forward to, having a little more deeper discussion about your work and how we can keep multi-generational artisanship alive. But first, I think over to Sam. And Sam, love to hear about your work, right, with Idanghav and the village, right? And from farmer to supporting artisans, right? You've done a whole ecosystem approach. So over to you, Sam. We're all ears.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I am basically based in a farming community, indigenous community. So I am with Penan tribe and also Kelabit tribes in Barrio. So what I'm going to share today is the mixture of Kelabit and Penan because well, I started off with farming activities. For example, this is our famous rice. We started to plant coffee and also we have lemon. So along the way, when we do farming activities and we carry baskets or whatever to, to be part of the farming activities. So usually what we do, this is mine. So what we do, we are into rattan. So this is how we usually use rattan. For Barrio, we started to realize that we couldn't get any rattan so easily anymore. It's going to go deeper and deeper into jungle. So eventually, we jump straight to plastic. This is what we use. And I think for so many years, we thought this is the only option that we are going. Oh, I carry every day. So we thought this is our alternative because we couldn't find any other materials. Then eventually when during farming activities and we started to look at the nature and those especially Penang and Kelabit, they started to share about in the old days, what do they use? They remember the grandparents or parents show them the plants or things like that. So they started to show me this one we harvest this morning. They started to show me, along the way during the farming activities. This my grandparents show me, and this one they already forgotten, but they still remember a bit that the parents harvested and with a bit of utensil or whatever, all this, and it's so easy to find in our setting, our landscape. So eventually, we started to realize, why not we try? Okay, so we try. It's an unfinished thing. So these are all the leaves that we harvested and they can remember. And we try to find out what are the possibilities. This is here and it's unfinished because we are still trying to learn from the scratch what are all these materials meant to be. So this is what we are going through now. So we are trying to explore all the possibilities of materials that we can find in our landscape. So some are documented, some are not. So this is our progress. We are learning by observing the texture, the characteristic of the materials, and also ask the elderly, how do you use this thing? Whether do they still remember? So for us, we are still pretty much trying to find out this can be alternative to this. So this is what we are doing. So we are exploring pineapple as well. We are exploring banana. I'm sure in many other countries, they still preserve, natural materials in that way. It's just that in our landscape, we already forgotten and we thought our alternative is to synthetic materials. So yeah. So that's the brief activities that we are doing now. So I think over to you, Aparna, that you can continue from there.
Thank you, Sam. And so thank you, Sam and Reena, for this, I would say a curtain raiser about your work. because in the panel, sometimes we'll not be able to cover so much of depth. But you've made my job easy because I know the kind of questions I can ask you, which will touch upon the multi-generational aspect, the sustainability aspect, and how and why we should be working, together, right? Because what you were sharing, Sam, is exactly what, like, I'm right now in Lombok, and I've just, visited a group of communities where literally they're working on rattan, they're working on pineapple fiber, they're working on bamboo, and it's so much of similarities, right? And hopefully even in terms of challenges. So before I get into that, Reena, let me come to you. Ashoka is a global organization, and it has done a lot of work in enabling change makers globally. I would like to understand how is your work in Ashoka, helping, create access for, artisan communities. I know you gave two examples, but we'd love to know a bit more about how does Ashoka work, what is their model, because I think the audience here would love to know more about Ashoka and how you are being an enabler for artisan, communities across the world, and maybe you will focus more on Indonesia due to you being based. So over to you, Reena. Would love to know more on that.
Yes, thank you, Aparna. So Ashoka actually aims to strengthen the agency of individuals, so everyone can become a change maker. So we believe that everyone, despite of the gender, economic status, education, or anything, it's not limiting themselves to become a change maker. So at some point, we realize sometimes it needs like an ecosystem to bring every individual realize their potentiality and something like that. So that's why we work on different kind of ecosystem through families and sort of and many things. So we believe if one of individual can realize the power as a change makers, so he or she would definitely influence their families, their colleagues, their friends, neighbors, or society at large. So, and also identify Ashoka since the early 1980s are searching and also selecting Ashoka Fellows, and then we supporting them to strengthen their ideations, their new ideas to make like a positive change in terms of whether it's a systemic change or something that framework change, something related with people's mindset, behaviors, or something like that. So through that, what we do is strengthening the ecosystem of change makers. So we work with the community leaders or teachers or something, our parents, including as a change makers. So so what we in terms of artisans communities, I think if we can, strengthening the change making skills in the artisanship, it could be them to realize not only their ability can make such a good products or such a good, like for example ecotourism, something like that, but it's also they realize their products or their initiations have a good impact to a society at large. So and then for that they need like an ecosystem that we works multi-sectors, multi-issues, and including intergenerational. So it's very important where young people can work with an elderly, and then also elderly not being left behind, something like that. And I think it's very resonates in terms of craftsmanship or artisans where they're following traditional wisdom and then also specific skills in the nature and something like that. And I think if both or everyone in terms of young people and also an elderly, they realize they are a change makers, and then what they're doing is giving a positive contribution to society and also in the environment. I think that's what the beauty of this, like, so yeah, to keep our sustained our livelihoods.
Thank you so much, Reena. I think Ashoka's doing great work as a, an enabling ecosystem of supporting change makers, because that's how sustains communities.
Yes.
Sam, you've had it deep, right? You've worked as a farmer with farming communities, and then now on to artisanship. So please share with me why this intergenerational connection really matters, because both of these, agriculture and artisanship are, essentially facing this threat of modernization. So please tell me, what have you observed and why do you think it's important to work on this part?
I think it's more like the continuation. To me, modernization has its part, but for the intergenerational wisdom or the way that they live their life in this landscape is something that we tend to forget the importance of it, and they are the potential of telling the modern world what are the alternatives that we can go for that can create a change that we all align with how the nature, align with how the nature communicate with us. I think that is why I find it so important that this piece of wisdom is shared to wherever you are, whoever you are, regardless of your setting, because this is the fundamental wisdom that the nature wanting us to know. Yeah, that's why I find it so important.
And what are the challenges you've seen? You've been doing this work for a while. So what are the challenges you've observed, so far in this, sector, right?
Yeah, I think it's the mindset of how we bring out from the modern world. Yeah, the way of how we analyze things in any landscape. I not so much. To me, I think it is easier for me to get the Kalabit and Penang to analyze the modern world in the most logic way than get the modern mindset community to look at the nature, and it is always a gap. So I think the challenge for me is not so much on how to bring the indigenous to
I think we lost
Yeah.
Sam. Yeah, okay. Let's wait for her to come back. Yeah. I
Yes.
think she's in middle of Borneo.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sam. Oh,
Okay,
electricity
can you
went
hear
off.
me? Yeah, it's dark
Yes,
now.
yes.
Was there a blackout?
Yeah, yeah, just
It's okay.
okay,
It's
continue
It's
okay.
here.
okay, it
That's our
happens.
life.
Yeah.
That's our life. Continue, please. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the challenge is the human mindset to me.
Yeah. All right. Reena, she's touched on something very critical, human mindset, and Ashoka is exactly working on that. Now tell me, how are you working on this, especially intergenerational piece, and why do you think collaboration is key? Right. Because I can tie it to our experience that, very early on in Toraja Mello, incidentally our founder is also here, is the fact that we understood that you cannot do this alone because you operate in isolation. Every challenge seems really Herculean, and you are fighting against larger players,
Yes.
extremely capitalistic minds, and it's not sustainable, right?
Yes.
So I think we figured pretty early on that we are not here to be on a us or a me path, but rather our. And we've tried to collaborate and using Ashoka language a bit, top down and even horizontally looking at different kind of ecosystem partners to amplify our mission. Right? I mean, that's
Yes.
been our lesson. And now we are also going, beyond Indonesia, different countries too, because that's our way of, trying to, if I may say, give back or collaborate, right? So that's been our learning. Reena, I would love to know from you, from what, Sam touched on, that, how has Ashoka identified this, and how is your approach on fostering this collaboration for artisans intergenerationally? Yeah.
Yes. So I think there's a lot of ways how collaboration plays significant roles in many kinds of initiations. Yeah, as you mentioned, there's like if we want to make like something change, like a systemic change, or how people mindsets can shifting, and then it needs a lot of players, a lot of that we cannot doing it alone. So so that's what we are currently doing as an ecosystem builder. We should work and then able to look up what is the players, and then each of players have their significant roles, and sometimes it's can align, sometimes it's not, and sometimes connected, sometimes it's not, something like that. So for examples that we're working Ashoka Indonesia for the last, I think, 2 or 3 years now. We're trying to have to localize everyone a change makers movement at the local level. So we're crafting the way by talking with many of actors at the local level. And then through that, we found that there's a tremendous positive initiations. There's a lot of change makers around us, but the public doesn't know about that. Not many public knows about that. And even there's like separations among the change makers, among people's working make a good change. So sometimes what we need is just that kind of like a hub where we can, share our knowledge, our skills, our thoughts, and something like that. And there's like a safe space for civil society to talk on that, and then and see how collaborations is multi-layer, right? It doesn't need based on the money, but it could be like on the ideas, or in terms of any kinds of modalities that we have in the communities. So that's what we are currently doing. For example, like what I shared in Lampung and Pontianak is exactly what we are currently doing. How in a local they can have like a collective actions where they can tap on specific issues in their areas, where they can see there's a shifting of the people's mindset, and how people can, eager to make something for their lives without waiting for funding or for the governments or other support or something like that. But if we can strengthen in that the movement, and then uh, bring the conversation, the shared values, and also a communal visions on that to make like a change together, I think that's something that we need to work on right now. So we're currently crafting the way on that. At Ashoka, globally, we call it metro strategy. So how we can localize everyone, a change makers movement on the specific hotspots or regional. So, and then why metro? Because like if there's like a trend, right? Like if there's some spot areas, then they can become a change makers areas or something like that. So they can like spark the inspiration for other areas to make like a same movement or something like that. So that's what we are currently doing. And then not only in Indonesia, but also part in Africa, this Nigeria, and also in Brazil or something like that. So back on the locality, how everyone, the change makers, can be happen.
Okay, great. I mean, good to know that these efforts are spanning. Now, I think something very real and very much about this topic, and is the fact that we do have lesser and lesser young people wanting to take up,
Yeah.
artisanship or even farming, agriculture. And this is real, yeah.
Yes.
So I'd like to know from both your experience, do you have some case studies or examples where you've seen it successfully work, and what were the tools and engagements used? So maybe Sam, if you want to have a go first, if you've seen any examples, and they needn't be limited to your country or your location. I mean, have you come across some case studies where you saw that this was a great intergenerational engagement and it's working? We'd love to know that.
I think the example that I have is one of the material that I showed. And actually, because it is so easy to harvest and it is easy to dry, and even I myself also can weave by using that material. And I have a friend, a friend here, which is a mother and daughter decided to pick it up because it is not as difficult as rattan, that you need to harvest in the jungle and you have to process it, and it is a bit harder. And this material is softer, and the daughter actually willing to pick it up and ask further the parents and the grandpa or grandma, how do you use it? So I think in a way that there are things that already forgotten. Also, I think because of the market that we so stressed on rattan, there are things that already forgotten, and is actually there are some young ones, it is very suitable for the young ones to pick it up, and they for example, this material, they see the potential because it's light and easy to work with, and a lot of things, a lot of fine weaving you can do. So I think in a way that I can see the potential of forgotten materials. Yeah. It's just
Okay.
that I think somehow in the market, I don't know who drives it. It's just that, yeah, somehow there are some materials that harder, maybe for other people, harder to do some artisan that will bring more money. To me, I don't see it. I don't see it that way on the ground. There are many other potential forgotten materials that the young ones, once they see it, they are interested. Yeah, that's what I see.
Okay, I guess it's an interesting area to look at then, but it's good to know that, the young ones are interested in new and alternative materials. Rina, from your
Yes.
work in Ashoka, right?
Yes.
Please, one
Yeah,
case
I want to
study.
add,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like for example, like this is the chopping hat. Uh, so this is from pandanus leaf, and the process it quite takes some effort from taking to cut off the leaves and then dry it and then weaving it, something like that, and then after that make it like more artistic. So traditionally it's just plain, no decorations or something like that. And it's more functional for people to go to the farm, and then and then now as in Pontianak in Kampung is a village, Kampung Chaping, so they bring this is as an icon. So they bring multi-generational collaboration where the elderly, they can pass on how to select the pandanus leaves, and then how to thread the pandanus leaf and then waving it. And then the young people, they make like innovation just like this. And this is
Great.
something like a new one. And then this one is the copage, something like, with
Yeah,
pepper, right?
decoupage. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
cottage.
decoupage. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and then this kind of like intergenerational collaborations, and then the
Yeah.
young people, they also using technology to
Yeah.
amplify the selling the products and then channeling it and then make it like ecotourism program on that.
Mm.
So I think this is what definitely what we want to do. I personally, even though I'm thanking for the generational theory, we divided people, Gen Z, millennials, or something like that. But I'm not really truly agree on that, because just it's trigger for ageism, like discrimination by age. So, and why at Ashoka, we see the richness, and then how it's very useful a collaboration among generations and all people. If we talking with them with empathy, and then the spirits of collaboration, we can bring all those forces between young and then old people to come together and then make a great innovation.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Reena, for that really, positive and, uplifting comment. I have more questions, but I think it's time for audience questions. I want to give them at least, 10, 15 minutes. Let's see how it goes, because I do have some audience member already, asking. So you have, the floor is open for questions, and I leave it free and open. So if you feel comfortable enough to unmute yourself and ask your question directly, come on video, don't come on video, it's up to you, no worries at all. Please do that. Otherwise, please type your question in the chat and I will ask on your behalf. But we are open for audience questions, so please. Looking forward.
Aparna?
Yes, yes. Hello.
Can I ask both Rina and Sam about technology, social media technology? How does it function in both Rina's sample or communities and Sam? The good, the bad, whatever. I just want to know.
All right. Okay. Try to make it short and sweet. Yeah. So whoever wants to go first. Reena, you're unmuted. Maybe you first.
Yes. Hi, Budini. Nice to see you here. So yes, I see it like technology is absolutely brings enormous change, and then brings a lot of possibilities for artisans, not only artisans, but also community leaders to amplifying what they are doing. And then it's also is a good ways to be connected to each other. And but in some side, the downside of technology, I think, is also has just like a two side of coins, right? Yeah, they offer the many possibilities to be more well known, to be more inspirational, something like that. But on the other side, is also distracting people to be more focused. Like I see how young people, yeah, in terms of artisanship, many young people not interested to continue doing their the ancestor skills, embroidery, weaving, or something like that, because it takes time, a lot of things to need to focus, and very attached with the handphone or the gadget or something like that. So, and then now it's kind of like challenging, where young people, they attracted to work in the city, addiction to online games, spending too much time on social media or something like that. So I think that's very important, how to, like, a digital literacy is very important for them, how to use this as a tools, not as ways for distracting them, to using their time effectively for the good cause, for example, like that. Yeah, I think that's my perspective, Budini.
Thank you, Reena. Sam, you want to add in?
Yeah, I just agree with what Rina say. Just adding on some is how to make them aware, how to make use of technology in a good way. I think that's what Rina, I agree with Rina as well. How do we guide them to make use of technology to in good use instead of doing something not so beneficial to their future? That's just adding in.
Thank you for the question, Yamamadini. I think it ties very well to the next question by Carlos, actually, which is taking this a notch further. Now we have AI. right? And especially generative AI has gone leaps and bounds in the past 1.5 years. And how do you both feel that, this use of AI is impacting keeping these multi-generational artisanship crafts alive, because there has been appropriation, right? We're all aware of appropriation cases by large corporations. So how do you view AI coming in? And just to give you a bit of a spin, it can be both a boon and a bane. So I'd love to know your views on it, and if time permits, I'll jump on and add in my perspective. So, Reena, do you want to give add-on views on AI?
Yes, I think I'm not something like against with AI. There's something that we need to learning how to navigate it instead of to sterilize with that, I think it's the same when the first time internet being invented, or like the first time social media being invented, because we're not familiarized and then we're afraid of that. But in some good sense of ways, along the way, we can navigate what is good for us, what is not, it's bad for us. I think it's the same. AI is provide us with many kinds of possibilities beyond what I'm thinking of. But it needs some sort of skills how to navigate it. So it's not only just asking question what we need, but just to learning the prompt that what we want to, to use the AI. And then still we cannot depend on 100% on that, because we need checking and something like that, editing or something like that. And then and should be very careful as well especially in terms of artisanship. I'm a sketcher, I'm a watercolor sketcher. And then there's like a discussion also among the sketchers, because it's very, you can just like type it and then there's like a good sketch
Yeah, got it.
immediately by AI. But the experience as an urban sketcher for something like that will capture the building, the stories, or something like that, human connection on that, I think is unreplaceable by the AI.
All right. Thank you, Reena. Sam, instead of asking you the same thing, I think I want to jump to Kant's question, right? So Kant has also asked a very interesting question where
Yeah.
he said that, and I think you are living it, right? And you've observed it. So I feel it sort of speaks to you is there are now a lot of new conversations, new behaviors, new ways of living happening. And slow living has been one of those, right? Slow living, so lifestyle. And this has found appeal, especially with the younger Gen Zs. So is that something that has helped in getting this intergenerational collaboration going? And then again, as you were sharing previously, what other things have you observed within the communities you work with, where the younger ones have embraced and come on board? So would love to know more on that, your view,
You
and
mean
plus
come on
some
board
examples.
as a slow? I would say, if you ask me, I would say the future is not us to graph or draft for them. I will see they are not embracing slow living. I that's that's the fact. That's the fact. So slow living is the future to go or no? I I doubt it actually. I doubt it in a way that I think fast moving living is
Still the norm.
is the trend that I see. Whether the
Mhm.
slow living will come back or not, it's not our generation to say properly. I think that's
All right.
that's not the sad thing, but that's the way to go. Yeah, that's the way that I see it.
Okay. And what has appealed to the younger generation? I mean, Karan would love to know. I think you touched on it, but that was before Karan jumped in. So, in your community, what part appealed to the younger generation where they got involved?
Read again, what?
What part of the work in your community, the people you work with, where the younger generation got involved? You had shared about this. Could you elaborate again? Yeah.
I tell you it's quite interesting that it is more for the like what Renai said, the sketching and all these things they are doing online. So it's not a bad thing in a way, because when they do the sketching or they do the graphic, they always incorporating some traditional elements in. I probably think that it's not a bad thing. Yeah. So that is the part that we always talk about, but they don't do it physically. They do it,
All right.
you know, in
Using certain new
the
tools. Yeah.
e-format,
Yeah.
in the social media or whatever, but they unknowingly they will incorporate some traditional design in. For now, I think
Okay.
it's not a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe making them aware that they have, unknowingly made a positive difference is the key, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think for now what I usually do is when they do sketching or whatever, I just tell them, hey, do you see this design can put in your, you know, in your graphic or whatever? They will actually analyze and put in. I think that's the only thing that we can do to instill the wisdom to them. In any medium that they use, I don't think we can do much, at least in my community. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So I think
Can I
let's
add?
quickly. Yeah.
Can I
I
add a
feel
comment about this
yeah,
as
yeah.
well? Yeah,
Try to make
Partner.
it short and sweet. Yes, Rina?
Yes, because
Okay,
this is
sure.
just like
Great.
resonate what I found
Definitely.
in Lampung. When I just came back from Lampung, we have a workshop with around 35 community leaders aged from 20 to 64 something. So it's kind of like intergenerational discussion is there's like the young people wants to go back, because like in Indonesia, in the context, if you want to get like a good education, go village or go out from your province levels, you go to the cities, right? And then there's like some notion in the young people, they want to go back to their village and then to be more purpose to build their village and something like that, being slowly village and something like that. But there's like some afraidness, some uncertainty how to for them to come back and then going up with tensions and then something like that. I think there's like a bravery, and then there's like a support system for that, and there's also like encouragement for them to go back to their hometown or something like that. And then there's some examples young people that are brave enough to craft the way on that. And then what appeals for them is, I think the young people itself, they have like a vision to be more purpose-driven person rather than to work just by materialistic or something like that. Yeah.
Understood. Understood. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rina. So there was a question from Simeon for Sam. So Sam, before we come to Carlos's question, yeah, and I think after that maybe we can't take any questions, but please feel free to reach out to the panelist or myself, and we'll be happy to, and I'll be happy to get the answers from them post this. So Sam, which one is lighter, the natural materials, rattan and everything, or it's plastic? Simeon was asking that question. Very practical question.
If you talk about lighter, it's actually this material, which is that we call it sear. I'm sure Indonesia we have because we share the border
Yeah.
in Kalimantan.
I
So
think
we
it's
are so
purun.
close to
Purun. Yeah.
I don't know what you call this. We call it sear, SIER. This is the lighter, but it
Okay.
cannot carry weight. It cannot
Okay.
carry heavy weight. So not so practical for the farming activities because we carry weight. So this is more for fashion. So this is the lightest. But if you say for the farm, light and heavy duty is actually plastic. This is just the fact. I'm sure if rattan, it is as sturdy as that. It's just that we need to find a way to make it
More
strong.
resilient.
Yeah,
Correct.
not so decorative, but in this this weaving is actually the full rattan weaving. This is very strong. So after a while, they started to split the rattan and become more decorative. This is not so. This is light but not so heavy duty. I think in Indonesia also the same. It depends
Yep.
on how you weave the materials. So this is
Yeah.
very strong. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. And I think a question for you both, but I would, so we started a bit late, so maybe Veronica give us permission, like give us 3 minutes, but both of you ladies have to be really quick and efficient is Carlos's question, right? What do you want the next generation to do to be more involved, right? And to give a spin to it, I will say, tell me that in one word, right? So one word, your call to action to the younger generation to be more involved. Hmm? Or maybe take 2, 3 words, but yeah, right. A call to
Rina?
action.
Yeah.
Rina, something in your mind? No?
Rina, you are mute.
What was the
Yeah.
question again?
One call to action, few words, right? For the younger
Okay.
generation to jump in.
I think in terms of collaboration is more connections, more talking, and then if there's like a platform where we can share like this or something like that more regularly and something like that, and it hopefully is not only talking, not stop on the talking, but could be like in-person site visit or something like that. Very
All right.
yeah, I think
Okay.
it's very
So maybe Catalyst, so joining Catalyst 2030 could be, then we could do more
yeah.
activities together. Sam, how about
Yes.
you? What do you think? Short call to action.
I think for the younger generation, just be open, pick up whatever wisdom that your parents and your grandparents given to you. You use it or not now, it doesn't matter. Just pack it and go to the world and decide your own future. Yeah, pick up the wisdom and the knowledge from your parents or grandparents.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. This session has been recorded, so we will try and get you all the recording for sure. Thank you everyone for joining in for this cozy session. Veronica has already shared how you could become a Catalyst 2030 member. It's a global community. It's really enabling, right? And we have members from all over the world. So a lot of you are representing different, communities and organizations. I strongly suggest please look up and register because it's a great opportunity. And I think it's really triggering in that conversation that we need to work more together in order to keep, our work alive. So thank you everyone once again. Have a good rest of the morning.